Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all I praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakudas. The launch to the elders, the launch to the apostles, preaching and teaching us the word of truth, and with sincerity as always. And without any further ado, I'm just gonna get into this lesson. Going into this dream that I had. Yeah, because the Lord can give you visions. The Lord can give you signs on things to come. Here, like for example, in the book of Daniel, here, Daniel 10, verse. Daniel 10 and verse 7. I, Daniel, was the only one who saw the vision. Those who were with me did not see it. But such terror overwhelmed them that they fled and hid themselves. So I was left alone gazing at this great vision. I had no strength left. My face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless. Now Daniel had no strength left on him because he was weak. He was weak when you go back up. I should have started at the top. Actually, I'm gonna start at the top. Daniel. This is the subheading is Daniel's vision of a man. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to a Daniel, who was called Belteshazzar. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. The understanding of the vision came to him, and the understanding of the message came to him in the vision. At the time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. For on the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing on the bank of the great river, the Tigris, I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold from Uphaz around his waist. His body was like topaz, his face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, the arms and legs like the gleam of a burnished bronze, and his voice like the sound of a multitude. That could have just been an angel, not Yahushai. Because just off seeing those angels too, sometimes you can get scared as well. You also get scared. Verse 7, it's just my opinion. This is verse 7. I, Daniel, was the only one who saw this vision. Those who were with me did not see it, but such terror overwhelmed them that they fled and hid themselves. And this is the verse where I started in verse 7. So Daniel was fasting to get the understanding, and he was mentioned about a war, and back all the way on the top in verse 1. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel. Now, I guess this could have been going back to Daniel 7 or 8, even 9. Because if I'm not mistaken, Daniel 9 is going into Antiochus, and it's going into Titus. the Greeks and the Romans destroying the temple, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check that because I haven't gone into Daniel 9 in a while. That I forgot, really. But I know it's having something to do with that. The point is, though, that in this lesson that Daniel saw a vision and he fasted. And then because of the fast, the Lord answered Daniel, because Daniel knew that fasting is good with praying, or like whatever you pray for. And then you can fast about it too, and you even give alms. And the Lord will answer your prayer, your requests, or whatever answer you're looking for, that you are looking for. So that was the point I wanted from this. Really, is that's what happened here in this case with Daniel. Let's move on down. Now that's out of the way. The point has been made there. Daniel fasted, and then the Lord, because of the visions he had, and then they terrified him. They terrified him. And because ultimately Daniel 11 is going into the same thing he saw back in Daniel 7 and Daniel 8 and even Daniel 2. He was just seeing what kingdoms was going to come next after Babylon is destroyed. And then at this point, it's already the Media Persians ruling. So that's why in Daniel 11, it skips talking about Babylon, and it starts with the Media Persians, if I'm not mistaken. Then Alexander, the Greeks, and then goes into details of certain wars the Greeks had, these Edomites had, the Diadochi and the six Syrian wars, and then it jumps to the Romans defeating Antiochus IV. The abomination of desolations, which was spoken of also in Daniel 9. So for Daniel to fast and get further details on these kingdoms, just showed you that dreams and then the visions and then answers are all from the Lord. That those are the secrets of the Lord. It says the Lord revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. And then in these days as well, you even have Jakes that are getting visions and dreams of these prophecies coming to pass, like the third war, Jacob's trouble, famines. So yeah, man, and because quick testimony, the other day I asked the Lord to give me a dream, a prophetic dream, vision maybe, and that's basically all I asked for there. And then I ended up getting this dream earlier today. Well, today is still is Monday, the 29th of June, 2026. So the Lord gave me a vision, a dream that was pretty deep. But I want to finish some of the verses before I get into the dream. Daniel 10 and verse, we were on verse, or I was on verse 9. or 8. So I was left alone gazing at this great vision. I had no strength left. My face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless. Then I heard him speaking, and as I listened to him, I fell into a deep sleep, my face to the ground. Then a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said, Daniel, you are highly esteemed. Consider carefully the words I am about to speak to you, and stand up, for I have now been sent to you. And when he said this to me, I stood up trembling. Then he continued, Do not be afraid, Daniel, since the first day you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself. That was the fasting. Humble yourself before your power. Your words were heard, now I come in response to them. But the prince of Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Now I think when Christians read this in 13, they think that's a literal demon. That was actually a literal man, the literal king of Persia there that stopped the angels, because the angels can come here in human form. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm under the assumption of believing that right there. This is off topic. Continuing on in verse 14. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people in the future, for the vision concerned the time yet to come. And when you go into verse 10, the next chapter, chapter 11, that's the Diadochi and the 6 Syrian wars, and what Antiochus the fourth did to the Jerusalem in the time. And when you read into it, basically the angels did explain it basically to Daniel what was gonna happen, even if he didn't really fully understand it, because it was in riddles, and most of those prophecies still weren't come to pass yet. 15. When he was saying this to me, I bowed with my face toward the ground and was speechless. Then one who looked like a man touched my lips, and I opened my mouth and began to speak. I said to the one standing before me, I am overcome with anguish because of the vision, my Lord, and I feel very weak. 17. How can I serve your servant talk with you, my Lord? My strength is gone, and I can hardly breathe. Again, the one who looked like a man touched me and gave me strength. Do not be afraid. You are highly esteemed, he said. Peace, be strong now. Be strong. When he spoke to me, I was strengthened and said, Speak, my Lord, since you have given me strength. So he said, Do you know why I have come to you? Soon I will return to fight against the prince of Persia, and I will go. And when I go, the prince of Greece will come. And verse 20 here, that didn't happen right. That didn't happen all of a sudden, at least not in the Earth's time, and this didn't happen all of a sudden, like in a snap of the fingers. Maybe for the angel here, because he was gonna go to the spirit world, and we already know that when the angels go back, and the time in the heavens is different than how time moves in the earth. So to the angel, that's why he probably was saying it like that, like it was like, in a sense, he said it like in a way that felt like right after that, he was like literally right after that he was gonna go, and it's talking about Alexander the Great being set up, because when that war happened with Darius and Alexander, the angels were there watching to make sure as well that Alexander was gonna defeat Darius. So the angels they move and do the work here to fulfill the Lord's prophecies, what the Lord said. Basically, what the Lord says it's gonna happen. That's what His prophecy is. and the angels make sure that's what happens. Whether it's a left-hand angel or a right-hand angel, both of them fulfill the Lord's message. The book of First Kings shows you that with Ahab and the counsel that they had the prophet told Ahab how the counsel works in the heaven and the heaven. It says 21, but first I will tell you what is written in the book of truth. No one supports me against them except Michael, your prince. The book of truth here just represents the vision, the book of Daniel, the visions in the book of Daniel here. And all the scriptures really. Yeah, and as I said there, Michael, because Michael was helping to the angel to make sure that the job was accomplished to help Daniel here to receive the understanding of the scriptures. So yeah, man, this just reminded me of when I got this vision. I basically asked the Lord to give me a vision. It was like on Friday last week, and the vision that the Lord gave me that didn't come till today. Now it's not on the level of what Daniel might have seen, but in a way it is, because we're closer to the end than when Daniel was closer to the end in this time. So in the vision, basically represented Jacob's trouble. From what I got from it, represented Jacob's trouble. And I remember a couple months back too, I also got a vision from the Lord about this Walgreens and Keisha and Eve and those crazy Eve, black woman from the hood, and how they was in Walgreens, rushing up and outside of Walgreens to destroy shit, take shit, and steal shit. And in the vision, it was a lot of fire, but I could see through the fire as Keisha was taking shit. And the fire just represented it can represent the destruction too that's gonna come. And also before the missiles come, the fire is a metaphor for the chaos, destruction that the Lord's gonna bring. And so in the vision or the dream I saw, which I kind of want to call it a vision because it felt more vivid. And so yeah, in the vision I was in the theater. It was like inside this big ass movie theater. Now, from what I understood, that the movie theater represents America, and then distractions here in America, and all the bread and circus. So when I was in the movie theater, and it was a big ass movie theater, and people was coming out of the theater, about to leave. And then in the front of once when I got to the front of the theater, it was this line, this pretty big ass and scary, angry ass line in front of the movie theater. But it was in this cage type of thing that was holding it in. And then you had these kids playing around with this line because it was in this cage that was keeping it in, I guess. But ultimately, I saw there was a crack. It's like a small little gap that looked like it was breaking. This line was kept breaking this, trying to break this cage, and it was breaking this cage slowly but surely. So as I saw that happening, I kept on. I kept moving towards the end of the parking lot to get away from this line because I knew that it was gonna. I guess I knew that it was gonna break this cage. He was gonna break out of that cage soon. And come to find out, a couple seconds later, it did end up breaking out of that cage. And so as all these people was coming out, I was already a good length from it. I was a good couple distance away from the line, but there was all those other people there, and then the lion was starting to tear them up and eat them all, and it was killing shit basically. And so I think I ended up getting inside of this car, and they was getting away. Then at some point I ended up getting on top of this car and then on top of this high post thing. And once I got all the way up high up there, which I was pretty scared too, because I was hearing all those people screaming and running. But as I got up there to that high point, I was able to see just how quick and ferocious this beast, this lion was moving and mowing these people down, like a lawnmower how it mows grass. And it was moving pretty faster than any regular lion moves. So in the vision, I perceived that this lion represents all the plagues and punishments, spirits created for vengeance that the Lord's gonna raise up soon, man. Can't. And so me, I was good. I was safe. I think at one point the lion passed by me. It was moving. Ended up moving past me, but it just moved past me. I was good. And it was going out to get more people to kill more people. So yeah, man. So the lion represented death, vengeance, the death that's gonna come. So this is why this is Amos 8 and verse 1. The subheading says the vision of a basket of fruit. Amos 8 and 1, and this is also Amos here who's describing his vision here. He saw of a much death. It says, I had another vision from the sovereign Lord. In it I saw a basket of fruits. The Lord asked Amos, what do you see? A basket of fruit, I answered. The Lord said to me, the end has come for my people, Israel. I will not change my mind again about punishing them. On that day, the songs in the palace will become cries of mourning. There will be dead bodies everywhere. They will be cast out in silence. Yeah, because you have this economic collapse that's going to inevitably happen. Hopefully this year, maybe not this year, maybe next year, maybe by the end of next year. I don't see it taking much more longer than that, than another year afterwards, man. I don't see it taking another extra year than that. This is what's gonna happen, man. Storehouses are gonna be basically your store is gonna be found empty. Second Edge 6 and 22. Full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Your Walmart's closed, emptied out. Your Myers, it's another mega superstore near where I live. All these major store chains closed, empty out. And then what are people gonna do? I mentioned earlier an account of last week. I made a video going into these famines and certain accounts that have real famines that happened, like in World War II, siege of Leningrad, where the Nazis, Hitler was out besieging this Russian city's capital, which was like I think the second largest capital in Russia. In that time, it had it for besieged it for like 382 days. And basically, I think these French, you had the French U.S. soldiers there, you had the French soldiers there, and you had the U.S. soldiers right there. They were supposed to be teams, allies, but the French soldiers, I believe, ended up eating this dude's brother. They were both fighting for on the U.S. side, and his brother ended up getting eaten by the friends that they was gonna go to meet up with. And they mentioned how they was just eating insects. They were just eating insects, plants, rats, and shit, man. And so yeah, man. You mentioned how they look like zombies. How they just look like zombies. Their eyes looked all reddish. Their skin looked all extra pale. These talking about the cannibals. They just look like zombies. And it's Amos 5:3. It says, "The Lord Sovereign Lord says, when a city sends 1,000 men to battle, only 100 will return. When a town sends 100, only 10 will come back alive." Amos 4:10. I sent plagues on you like the plagues I sent on Egypt long ago. I killed your young men in war and led all your horses away. The stench of death filled the air, but still you would not return to me, says the Lord. Hosea 10:14. It says, "Therefore shall atonement arise among the people, and all thy fortresses shall be spoiled, as Solomon spoiled Beth Arbel in the day of battle. The mother was dashed in pieces upon her children." Now, when you go into the context behind this verse, it says the prophet compares the impending doom to a historical massacre where the city of Beth Arbel was devastated. The Solomon reference, while the exact identity of King Solomon is debated by historians, it is widely believed to refer to an Assyrian king or a Moabite ruler, such as Shalmaneser III or IV. Yeah, that was an Assyrian king who carried out a brutal surprise attack on the city of Beth Arvel. The atrocities of ancient warfare, the phrase "mothers were dashed to the ground while their children" is a harrowing description of the horrors of war. It illustrates the complete devastation and trauma the Israelites would face at the hands of the coming Assyrian invasion. Trusted in human strength, this verse serves as a direct consequence of the warning in the preceding verses. God warned Israel not to plot wickedness or rely on their military and mighty men, by trusting their chariots and soldiers instead of God. They left themselves vulnerable to total destruction. All right, there you go. So that's essentially what I was seeing in the vision I saw. If I'm correct, which I have faith I'm pretty accurate on that. Now, the vision didn't end though. Still have more to describe. So after I saw the lion pass by me, I don't know how, but I ended up getting I think in the one scene I ended up running to the opposite location from where the lion was running, and then it's somehow, some way, it's like time fast forwarded, or something just transported me, I guess, to another spot, another location that looked more secluded and safer. And I ran into this like creatures. It's like this beast. It's like a kind of looked like a lion slash tiger, but it was really, it would be hard to describe it. Its ears was long. Kind of looked like a puma, but it wasn't. It looked like some sort of different species of some cat, some wild cat that has never been seen before. But I perceived that creature to be like a guardian angel, because it was guiding me, and I felt safer and more in peace once I saw this creature, and it was actually talking to me like a man. So I felt safer around this creature's presence. So I perceived in the dream that this was it could represent an angel that was sent to protect me. And then I forget what I ended up telling the. Well, we had a conversation. I forgot it was a short conversation. I forgot the conversation, what it was like, but it might have been something along the lines of being safe. And for some reason, I wanted to take that creature home. I don't know why that was on my mind, but that's what was on my mind. So then after, a little bit afterwards, I saw this light-skinned black woman, this Akeisha, this as we call her, black bitch there. She is just zoomed in her face. She looked all mad. She looked like she was on some phone or something. And then just shortly after that, I ended up. I didn't end up seeing that creature again. Just right after that. And then I ended up just climbing this like little hill thing, but near this river. Cause it was like a walking trail there, I guess. And what I perceived from what I saw going back to when I saw Keisha there on the phone looking angry, that also represented these people of the world that's distracted right now, and that's gonna be caught unawares. That's what I perceived that represented. I guess that's why I saw that. And then so I was going. So then after that, I was climbing the hill, and then just shortly after that, I heard this lioness ended up coming out, and this other pretty big ass lioness, I guess it was, and she had like 10, probably 10, maybe 9 of her other smaller cubs there. And it was moving like they was on the hunt for food, for searching for food. So then, as that was happening, I was climbing that hill. I heard Keisha's voice, and she said something like, we need to get out of there, or she needs to get out of there because, or these people need to get out of there because she was the lioness was hungry, and she was searching for food for her cubs. So it's reminding me of the scripture that says, as if a lion did flee from a. I'll just pull it up. I think it's Zephaniah 2. Oh, no, it's Amos 5 actually. Amos 5 and verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not its lights, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. Or went to the house and laid his hand on the wall and the serpent bit him. Shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not lights, even very dark and no brightness in it? God, and essentially that's what those lions represented. That was the second time that this lion, or this scary ass beast came out on the hunt for blood for people. To be hunting people. As it says, 21, I despise feast days and I will not smell on your solemn assemblies, God. And it's no coincidence this is happening on the same week of this 4th of July, 250th anniversary of America, which we already know that's spiritual, and because the kingdoms only last, as they say, about 250 years. So come on, man. So yeah, it was a vision, and then but basically I was safe there too because I literally saw these lion cubs roaming around, and they likely ate Keisha's ass, but I didn't get to see that part. But me, I know I was good, and once again, and I could tell in the dream as well that some of the lion cubs they saw me, and the mother lion as well. She passed by me too, so she probably could have probably could have sensed that I was there, but I was good as well there once again. And so I just perceived that as the Lord protection around me once again during this dream. So I just perceived it as very spiritually and intertwined it with what's to come, the Jacob's trouble and Esau coming down with great wrath, the third war, the famine, and all of that. Yeah, the lions didn't just represent one specific plague. It represented all kinds of plagues that was terrors that the Lord's gonna bring. Like famine, economic collapse, cannibalism, spirits created for vengeance that's gonna turn up out here when it turns to the purge out here soon. So it's gonna be worse than the purge. But that's basically the gist of the dream and the meaning of what I perceived. If you get anything as well from it, you can leave it in the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to share that dream. And a couple weeks ago too, I had another dream, but it was going into something that kind of something different. Where I saw basically my brother that's in the world, my fleshly brother, and then the brother that's in the truth. We was in the upstairs in this house, and we allowed two of these dudes to get inside. And then they ended up wanting to rob us with knives. And then I ended up being good and not be getting stabbed, but then the brother and then my other blood brother from the railroad ended up getting stabbed and hurt. And then this little kid was there too that got pretty injured as well. Cut up and stuff like that, stabbed, I guess. And in the dream, I perceived it to be the straight gates. As it reminded me of what it said in Ezra about how the wicked shall also go through the straight gates, but not receive the life, but that the elect shall go through the straits and receive the eternal life. So in the dream, I perceived it to be the Lord is going to test everybody. But the difference is that the elect is going to be alright. That the elect is going to be alright, because in the dream that when I talked to the brother that's in the truth with me, how he got stabbed and pretty damaged. When I asked him, once we got to the hospital, and I asked him if he was good, he said yeah. He said yeah. And it looked like the spirit was on him to stay strong in that, though he was badly injured. And then my brother that's up the road, he was also badly injured, but he allowed the kid to go first, to go see the doctor first. And then the other brother that's with me, that's in the truth, to go second. And so the kid represented those, I perceived the little kid that got injured represented those that's new in the truth, coming into the truth, that's going to be looked out for. It's going to be going through the tests and the yards of temptation, but it's gonna be looked out for as well. To receive the life eternal. And it all represented mercy as well, because of the fact that I was able to drive them to the hospital. And that we made it to the hospital. So, and it also represented the fight, the battle, because when at first I was fighting them off, and then I ended up sleeping and getting knocked out in the dream, I guess, not with their fists, but in the dream I just ended up, for some reason I ended up going to sleep, I guess, because the dream it represented me. It's lucky I'm not bringing scriptures, I'm just ranting here, but describing this dream. But in the dream I ended up dozing away. I ended up sleeping for some reason in the middle of me getting attacked and fighting this guy with this knife, holding him off, I guess. It wasn't really a fight, it was more like a wrestling, holding him off and his knife away from me. But in the dream, I ended up waking up to somehow I wasn't stabbed or nothing like that, but I was bruised. But I was still seeing my brother, my blood brother. I guess he was in the other room in the bathroom fighting this dude off. And I saw the brother next to me. He was there next to me and sitting on the couch, some other couch pretty close to me, fighting this other dude off. And so I ended up getting up myself and fighting these intruders. And I ended up stabbing one of them. And also killing another one of them. So in the dream, it represented the battle, a wrestle. It's like a wrestling, a battle, as the Lord told Ezra, this is the battle. That's what they reminded me of. And that's what I perceived that part of the vision to be, the battle. The elect being wounded because they were wounded. Like I said, one of them was my brother that's in the truth. The Judite brother I'd be preaching with. He was there in the dream. And once again, when I asked him, once I took him to the hospital, and I asked him if he was good, if he was going to make it, if he felt like he was going to make it, he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. And the way he said it looked like he was like the Lord was with him. Like he was enduring the pain. The Spirit was helping him to endure all of that pain because he was pretty badly injured and bleeding out. So just going back to how I saw the brother injured and the little kid injured too. Now in the dream, I didn't know who that little kid was, so I just perceived it once I got the dream. This was a while back. Once again, I perceived that in the dream, the little kid represented those that were new in the faith. Because in the scriptures, the Lord likens us to kids out of the mouth of babes. And because he was young and small going through that hell, I took it as him. It represented those that was new in the faith, younger in the faith. And then me, I'm also a brother, so it represented those a bit more older in the faith. So I wouldn't say I'm that old, but I wouldn't say I'm that new to the faith as well. And the brother also as well, he isn't that new to the faith as well now. But this is 2 Peter 6:18. It reminded me, this is a good scripture for it though. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and it will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness and with the affliction of Zion. And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, so that them getting stabbed, they represented the affliction of Zion. And because some of the elect will be touched, some of the elect will die, and times are going to come into the guillotines or put in a time of testing in the jail or in the concentration camp. But in the end, basically, they didn't die. They didn't die. So, yeah. Verse 20 here, and when the road that first shall begin to banish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens, the books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which had been so long without fruits, shall be declared. Second Peter 7:3, and I said, I speak on my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. Kinda in the dream, those two dudes that came in to rob us with knives and shit, they represent Satan and the enemies against this truth, the enemies against this truth, the demons and devils and these people of the world that can come up against us, that can try to set up snares against us. But as I described earlier in the dream, I was fighting one of them off, and I was able to not let him fully stab me. But I was bruised. But the reason I was bruised and not fully stabbed as well was so that I can help the brother. And then even my now for some reason in the dream I also helped my fleshly brother that was over the road. I ended up helping him. Maybe it represents him repenting, but I don't know about that. But I still don't understand that part really fully. But in the dream I perceived it represented possibly him. Those in the road as well was going to be going through the same straight gates, and ultimately in the dream he was damaged to the worst. without having Yahweh Bashim Shai, because he doesn't have Yahweh Bashim Shai though. Ultimately, he received a lesser mercy because he was gonna go last. Once we got to the hospital, he was gonna have to wait to go last. So who knows? He could have ended up dying before fully being able to go to be checked up on. Because once again, a little kid went first to get healed, to get checked on by the doctors or surgeons, physicians, and then the brother was gonna go with second. I was already in better condition because I was bruised, but pretty much all over my body, but I wasn't stabbed or nothing like that. So the second of 7 in verse 3, and I said, speak on my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place that it might be deep and great, but put the case the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Yes, they were going. These were narrow things. The dream, all that getting attacked represented the narrow entrances. There is also another thing. The city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Yeah, and like in the dream, they were gonna go get checked up on one by one. And then in my case, I was pretty much in a better case, so some of the electable represented how some of the elect will go through a more easier, a lesser harsh path. Ultimately, the Lord balances it all out. Because I think of Elijah. How basically while Elijah was going through his affliction in his ministry, you can think of Elijah around that time still wasn't woken up. He wasn't a prophet. And around that time, you also had, just before Elijah's his second to come was Elisha. Before he woke up, you had the prophets who were going and hiding. Now, the prophets that were going and hiding, they in a way they might have had it. They might have had it easier because they were at least together while Elijah was alone. But when you look at certain of the things that Elijah was able to accomplish, it was balanced because it was a bit greater than what the prophets in hiding, even though they were together, were witnessing. And then later on, you see he right after that, you had him to go to the Lord, woke him, quickened it in him to go and meet with his follower that was gonna lead the way after him, Elisha. Elisha was still unawoken and going through an easier route until he woke up, and then after his friend left and died, he felt that loss too, and was gonna go through his own ministry and hell. as for being as for going into his lot now of a prophet, because when he met Elijah, he was just a regular man. Until he saw Elijah. Then the Spirit hit him to know that he was a prophet and to go with Elijah. So basically, that was the point of the dream. Those are the two dreams that I had. The first one was just happened earlier yesterday in the morning, and then this one, the second one I shared, happened a while back. I think it was like not last week, but the week before that. I think it happened around. I think it was around Tuesday or something. So I'm gonna close out with this. Second Ezra 7 and 57. Then answer he. The point is in 57. I'll see where I start here. Start at 52, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas he had walked in the most wicked of all ways. And that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. For we have walked in unpleasant places, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. So Ezra here was basically trying to make himself of the dishonorable vessels fitted for destruction. Hence why later on the angel kept on reminding Ezra to not compare himself unto those of the world. 56. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then he answered me and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. That if he overcome, shall suffer as thou hast said, but if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. So basically, that just shows you that the angel was telling Ezra that all the elect is going to feel like they're wicked and like they're just dark in darkness, and maybe not even of the elect, and have doubts. The angel here comforts Ezra with these words and speaks to your spirit and tells him that that's the battle, because we are in this wicked flesh, and this wicked flesh does make us to go off at times, and will make us, and that can make us to think we're not of the elect, because you can feel like you're weak or maybe not doing enough, or could do better. Or you might have thought something or said something in your head that you realize later on was really carnal to say, and not in the spirit. But come on. For 59, for this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose thee life that thou mayest live. Nevertheless they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him, no, nor me, which have spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. I answered then and said, I know, Lord, that the Most High is called merciful, and that he has mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world, and upon those also that turn to his law, and that he is patient and long-suffering for those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth, and that he is of great mercy, for he multiplieth more and more mercies to them that are present and that are past, and also to them which are to come, for if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardoneth for it, if he did not so of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them. The 10,000 part of men should not remain living. And being judged, if he should not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put out the multitude of contentions, there should be very few left, peradventure in an innumerable multitude. Yeah, as I said here, there's very few left, and it's going to be very few that is going to be left. That's the remnants of the elect. So with that, I mean, really, that's the point. That was the visions and the scriptures there to edify you, Lord's willing. Hopefully you were edified. Shalom and Abad Rabah.